Okay, hello everyone. Okay, so let's talk about operator precedence. All right, so let's basically do some calculation here to see how it works. All right, so I'm going to type a system.out.print statement, and we are going to basically type the calculation in this system.out.print ln statement. Okay, we're going to pass in the calculation as an argument here. So I'm going to type in 2 plus 2 times 4. Okay, so now when we see this, right, we read this from left to right. We say 2 plus 2, right, and that gives us 4, right, and then we end up multiplying 4 by 4, right, and 4 by 4 we know gives us 16. So let's run this to see if we're going to get 16. Let's compile this, run this, and we don't get 16, we get 10. Now that's because the multiplication sign is because of operator precedence, right? There are some operators that have a higher precedence than others. There's some operators that get done first. There's some calculations that get done first than others based on the operators. So the multiplication sign has a higher precedence than the addition sign. And so because of this, 2 times 4 gets applied first, or it gets done first, which gives us 8. And 8 is added to 2, and that's why we get 10 here. Now let's try minus. All right, so normally we would see this and we would do 2 minus 2, which gives us 0, and 0 times 4 will give us 0, right? So let's try to see if we're going to get 0 here. Compile this, run it, and we get -6. That's because, again, there's some operators that have a higher precedence than others, right? So in this case, the multiplication sign has a higher precedence than the subtraction sign. And so because of that, 2 times 4, okay, the operands that, or basically the calculation that involves the multiplication, the 2 operands on the left and right of it gets multiplied. The 2 times 4 gives us 8, and then 2 minus 8 gives us -6. So that's why we're getting this. All right, so let's change this. Let's try some more. Let's change this to a division sign. And because of the division, because of integer division here, I'm going to change one of these to, let's say, 4.0 for now. All right, so when we see this, we say 2 plus 2, which gives us 4, right? And then 4 divided by 4.0, will give us 1.0, right? And so let's calculate this to see if we're going to get 1.0. So compile this, run, and we get 2.5. And that's because, again, operator precedence, the division sign has a higher precedence than the addition sign. I'll point out the differences after I'm done, but I just want you to see this for now. So what gets done first is 2 divided by 4.0, right? And then the result of that is added to 2, and that's why we get 2.5, right? And so we compile, well, we've done this already, so let's try 2 minus 2, and then we divide 2 by 4.0. So compile this. Normally we would see this, right? Normally we would see 2 minus 2, and then that gives us 0, and then 0 divided by 4.0 should give us 0, right? So let's compile this, run this, and we get 1.5. That's because 2 divided by 4.0, it gets done first, right? And so that's basically 0.5, and so it's going to be 2 minus 0.5, that gives us 1.5. Okay, so basically some operators have a higher precedence than other operators. So basically multiplication and then division gets done first, right? It has those operators, multiplication and division, they get done first. They both have the same precedence, they both have the same priority. And then after multiplication and then division, we have addition and subtraction. And so any calculation that has a multiplication and division, subtraction and addition, the multiplication and division gets done first, and then the addition and subtraction follows after that. Now, so that's what's happening here. So let's go back to our very first example where we had 2 plus 2 times 4, right? And so what's happening is 2 gets multiplied to 4, which gives us 8, and 8 plus 2 gives us 10, right? That's what we are getting. That's what's happening here. If we didn't want that to happen, if we wanted 2 plus 2 to take effect first, what we have to do is we have to surround the calculation we want to happen, or we want to take effect first, with parentheses, and that basically gives that calculation a higher precedence. It gives that operator a higher precedence. It's saying that, okay, I know that the multiplication sign has a higher precedence than the addition sign, but because I've surrounded this with parentheses, go ahead and give this a higher precedence. Do this first before you multiply by 4. So it's then going to go ahead and add 2 to 2, which gives us 4, and 4 times 4 will give us 16. And so when we compile this and we run it, we get 16. And so we have basically more precedence. So in other words, at first I said that multiplication and division have a higher precedence than addition and subtraction. Now, the parentheses, when you surround anything with the parentheses, it has a higher precedence than anything. It has a higher precedence than even the multiplication and division, because that gets done first before applying even the multiplication and division, right? And so it's parentheses, right? Multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. That's the order, right? Anything you surround with parentheses has a high precedence, and then multiplication and division gets done. Sorry, and then addition and subtraction. Now, what happens if you have, let's say, the operators that have the same precedence in the same calculation? Now, I mentioned that multiplication and division have the same precedence, and I also mentioned that addition and subtraction have the same precedence. If you have something like 2 times 2 divided by 4.0, now I mentioned that multiplication and division have the same precedence, right? And so with this one, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is they get done from left to right. Any set of operators that have the same precedence, it gets done from left to right, right? From left to right. So in this case, 2 is going to get multiplied by 2, which gives us 4, and it's going to be 4 divided by 4.0, right? If you have also addition and subtraction, which have the same precedence, right? Let's change this to 4. 2 plus 2 divided by 4. Addition and 2 plus 2 minus 4. I'm sorry. So addition and subtraction have the same precedence, and anytime you have operators that have the same precedence in the same calculation, they get done from left to right. All right, and so this is going to be 2 plus 2, which is 4. 4 minus 4 gives us 0. Let's try to see if we're going to get 0, and we get 0. Okay, so keep that in mind, because you're going to need that in your calculations when you write your programs. Okay, if you have any questions, please comment down below, and I'll do everything to respond to them. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time with the next video. All right then, bye-bye.